Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union on this frosty Friday night here in Missouri. I mean, it is cold out there. We're talking 30 degrees. And I know it's not like that back in South Carolina. You folks had a pretty pleasant night and a good night for high school football games all across the state of South Carolina as we go into the second week of the playoffs. And we've got a bunch of final scores to get to. David Shelton will join us here in a little bit to talk about his game tonight and the games around the state. We'll talk to some coaches as well and get things lined up for next week as we really get down to the nitty-gritty. You know, teams want to be practicing in November. They want to be practicing on Thanksgiving because they know they are deep in the playoffs and have a chance to win a state championship at that point. Quick production question for Pat back in Columbia. Have you got our live stream going live, Pat? Because I don't see the –
We do.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at a different screen then, but you're telling me we're good back on your end, so that's all I need to know. So let me fill you in on the scores that we have in at this point. We've been able to plot a number of them that have been reported, and South Carolina High School League actually doing a nice job of tweeting out scores, and SC Sports Source as well, aggregating the scores from across the state. So kind of makes it easy for everybody. So let's begin in 5A Upstate, and this was probably a great ball game. We'll try and catch up with the winning coach here in just a little while. And Gaffney beat TL Hanna 32-26. That's in the 5A Upper State. And next week, man, it'll be like an old Region 2 4A matchup. Gaffney and Northwestern. Northwestern took it to Burns tonight, 42-3. That final score. Maybe we haven't talked enough about Northwestern this year and how good they must be. So Gaffney wins over Hanna, 34-26. Northwestern tops Burns, 42-3. Lower State, the game that David was at, Lexington went down to Goose Creek and beat the Gators, 28-14. That's a heck of a win for the Wildcats. And they will get either Chapin or Fort Dorchester next week, waiting on a score there. And Fort Dorchester, the big favorite in that one. We'll get you a score on that as soon as possible. In the 4A playoffs in the Upper State, Greenwood, continuing its magical season, defeats Catawba Ridge 42-30 in the Upper State. In the Lower State, Beaufort knocks off North Augusta 42-10. And it was West Florence 27 and South Aiken 21. Also, Pat has just gotten this score on the board. Oh, my. Greenville High comes to Columbia and defeats the defending 4A state champions. Final score there of 27-26. That had to be a heck of a ball game. I know we'll get a report from somebody who was on the scene there. I think maybe Chris Daring was there, and we'll hear from him or somebody who was there. So Greenville over AC Flora, 27-26. Again, Greenwood over Catawba Ridge, 42-30. Beaufort defeats North Augusta, 42-10 in the Lower State. West Florence over South Aiken, 27-21. In the 3A playoffs tonight, Clinton's fantastic season will continue. The Red Devils go to Lower Richland. It was a high-scoring game. Offenses galore on both sides. Red Devils win at 48-34 at Lower Richland. What a great year for the Diamond Hornets, but not enough tonight as they still call themselves Diamond Hornets or just Hornets. Whatever. Clinton wins at 48-34 to advance to play either Woodruff or Daniel. In the Lower State, Camden shuts out Aner 13-0. Dillon, big over Crestwood, 41-14. And Oceanside defeats Gilbert 36-28. So that matchup next week, Dillon and Oceanside. That should be worth the price of admission. That should be a dandy. In the 2A playoffs tonight, Newberry, Phil Strickland not ready to hang him up. He wins again, 56-20 over Chesterfield. So the Bulldogs will extend the life of their coach on the sideline for at least another game. Phil Strickland's already announced that he's going to retire at the conclusion of this season, and it's not over. Newberry wins it 56-20. Silver Bluff over Central 49-0. It's this is in the lower state. Again, Silver Bluff having a great year, beat Central 49-0. Barnwell, a winner over Woodland 22-13, and the newcomer Philip Simmons is moving on in the playoffs, edging Wade Hampton of Hampton tonight 15-14 in the lower state of the 2A bracket. In 1A action tonight, it was okay, Pat. Now you put these scores up, but we've got, or maybe I put them up, and we got them cockeyed here. Calhoun County over McBee. I believe that final score was 53-19, and I misplaced the 19. I put it in the wrong spot. I'm pretty sure it's Calhoun County 53, McBee 19. Ridge Spring Monetta over Great Falls 48-32 in the lower state. Got to talk with David about this. Didn't see this one coming. Whale Branch 27, Lakeview 12. Don't know anything about that Whale Branch team, but here they are knocking off a traditional 1A power in Lakeview 27-12, and Bamberg Earhart defeats Carvers Bay 41-14. Those in the 1A Skeeza playoffs. In the 1A High School League playoffs. In Skeeza, 2A, Williamsburg Academy 28-7 over Beaufort Academy, 2A. So Williamsburg Academy moves on to the state championship. And in 8-man football, Andrew Jackson beat Clarendon Hall 34-30. Now let me check around and see what other scores have been reported out there. We'll go here and there. In Skeeza, Hammond big over Porter Gaud. So Hammond moves on to play for another state championship, 56-3. Hammond over Porter Gaud. And back to High School League 5A, Dutch Fork continues to roll. Another blowout, this time over Cane Bay. Final score of 56-0. So Dutch Fork advances. Back in Skeeza, Augusta Christian defeats Lawrence Manning 45-20. So I believe, check my brackets here, make sure I'm talking about the right people. Augusta Christian and Hammond will play next week for the state championship. Augusta Christian 45. Now, see, I've got some confusion here because I had Augusta Christian playing Trinity Collegiate, not Lawrence Manning. Oh, wait a minute. My bad. I have slipped too far on my scoreboard there. So just forget everything I just said. I don't have an Augusta Christian Trinity Collegiate final just yet. I scrolled down too far. So we will re-scroll back to the top and get you some more finals. Here we go. South Point over Lawrence, 47-20. So South Point moves on. Myrtle Beach, big over Aiken, 68-0. How about this one? Don't know we saw this one coming. Chester beat Chapman tonight, 33-28. So the Cyclones move on. Panthers are out. Chester wins it, 33-28. Sumter wins again, defeating Stratford 28-7. And Fort Dorchester does defeat Chapin 44-21. So as we look at the 5A bracket that we have right now, Sumter wins to move on, and Dutch Fork wins. So in the lower state next week, lower state semis next week, you're going to have Dutch Fork against Sumter, and you're going to have Lexington against Fort Dorchester. That's how those things are lining up there for next week. And Gray Collegiate, big winner tonight over Crescent, 58-0. Skeeza, Andrew Jackson Academy over Clarendon Hall, 34-30. And I think we have now, Daniel beat Woodruff, 49-21. Irmo knocks out Westside, 42-20. Now I think we have run through all the scores that are available to us at this point. So
Corn, we just got
a couple of surprises.
Just got one more, actually. Hartsville over North Myrtle Beach, 31-12.
How about that? Hartsville getting it right this season. North Myrtle Beach was really good last couple of years, not so good this year. if I remember, Hartsville kind of struggled early on this year, and they've kind of gotten back to their normal self as the season has worn on. So Red Foxes win and advance 31-12. Okay, that's our first run through the scores. So let's go to, well, before we go to our first break, let's go out to the phones and out to the fields. Love to hear from guys who've been calling games, watching games, and we appreciate them who call in to the high school scoreboard to share their insight and their take on the game. So let's go to Lane Harris, play-by-play voice for Myrtle Beach High School. Myrtle Beach wins it over Aiken tonight, and they win it big, 68-0. Wow. How about that performance tonight, Lane? Looks like Myrtle Beach has shifted into high gear as we move through the playoffs.
Yes, they are, Phil. They look good. They played another very clean game, very few penalties, and the starters took care of business in the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter and sat on the bench for the rest of the game. Aiken came out with a plan to stop Malachi Washington from running the ball. They did a pretty good job of that. Malachi only had 10 carries for about 40 yards rushing, but he did have a 6-yard touchdown run in the game. But that just opened up the passing game. And guess who? Ryan Berger, 5 touchdown passes on 8 of 12 passing for 148 yards. Berger's going to Upstate next year. Adam Randall's headed to Clemson, 6 catches for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he got the game started 59 seconds into the first quarter with a 51-yard touchdown pass where he caught the ball on a slant and broke through about 4 tackles to get to the end zone. Jake Doty caught a touchdown pass. John Simmons, a 6'4", 170-pound freshman, caught a touchdown pass in the first quarter. Randall added his third in the second quarter. And Cam Ward, who missed 5 games with a broken hand, had a cast on his hand. He gets a pick 6 with 3:39 to go in the second quarter to put Myrtle Beach up 49-0 at half. And even with the continuous running clock in the second half, Myrtle Beach scores 3 more touchdowns, 2 by backup running back GQ Johnson, who ran for 108 yards on 12 carries and scored 2 touchdowns. Myrtle Beach big early and often and throughout the game, 68-0.
Wow.
The big thing in this game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the competition we've seen so far in the playoffs, unfortunately for these teams, has not been very good. This is a team that came into the game only averaging about 12 points per game. They've been shut out 3 times. Jason Owens' defense held them to negative yards rushing for the game. And Phil, this is a first. I've been calling high school football games for almost 39 years. No first downs in the game, none. And that's unofficial. But according to Wayne Gray, who keeps our stats right beside me in the booth, they had no first downs the whole night.
Wow. How many yards did they end up with? You happen to know?
Well, I mean, their quarterback was 6 of 14 for 18 yards. And after a while, I mean, Myrtle Beach must have had 20 tackles for loss and sacks in the game. I mean, it was every time they'd run the ball, we'd stuff them. Every time they tried to throw it, they just couldn't throw it. But the things are going to change next week. Buford Eagles are coming to town, and these cats, we beat them in the playoffs last year. They got us on their radar. They got us circled on their schedule right now. They want to come back to Myrtle Beach and play.
No question. What do you remember about them from last year that will apply to this year?
I remember they had a very good quarterback who could throw the ball down the field and did a great job of running the ball. And on defense, I think they've got a defensive lineman that's going to play in the North-South game. He was very good last year, and I think he's back. So they had some very talented athletes all around, good skill players. It was a dogfight in the first half, and we kind of pulled away and got a 2 to 3 touchdown lead in the second half and ended up winning the game by 2 scores. But it was a tough long trip down there. They'll have to make the long trip up to us. But we anticipate. I told Mickey in the post-game interview, Mickey Wilson, the head coach, I said, the tune-ups are over. It's time to start getting down to business and playing football, and he agreed with me wholeheartedly.
Oh, yeah. It's time for the nitty-gritty now for sure. Hey, Lane, we thank you so much. Have yourself a great weekend with Coastal Carolina and your part in that, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate you. Appreciate letting me call in, Phil. Love you guys' show. Appreciate it a lot.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Thank you. Have a great weekend. All right, the story on Myrtle Beach's win tonight. Boy, they really piled it on, 68-0. That final score, and looking very good are the Seahawks. They're going to be a tough out for anybody that they face as the playoffs continue. And I got a few more final scores in before we hit the break. So let me go back and pick out some of these fresh ones that have come in. Brooklyn Casey beat Hanahan 28-27. How about that? 28-27 BC over Hanahan. And also New Baptist Hill beat Green Sea Floyd's 50-33. We've had some tight ball games here. Daniel. Gave you that. We talked about that one. Sherraw. How about Sherraw beating Timberland 27-26? That was a tight one. We'll probably get details on that coming up in a little bit. West Florence over South Aiken 27-21. And let's hit our break, and we will come back and run through all the brackets once again for those just joining us from their ball game. Maybe you've been listening to a ball game, you've been at a ball game. We've got almost all the scores in at this point. So we'll come and go back through those brackets one more time, and we'll get more reports. We'll reach out to some coaches as well. And, of course, David Shelton will be joining us too. Oh, here's another one. Powdersville beat Wren 21-17. We'll hit the break here on the high school scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for those 65 and older, long-term care residents, and those 18 and older with underlying medical conditions or at high risk.
All right, I'm into the box now.
scdheck.gov/COVID-19 booster.
Well, that Clemson-Wofford game was a heck of a game.
Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us
I had
and fight
created
the
one.
spread. Visit
and I was on that one.
scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skizo, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com.
I don't know if you heard me. That Clemson-Wofford game was a great one. Smitty's going to join us once he's finished with his post game. We'll have him on for the report. Did you plot those other scores? Let me get those most recent scores plotted that we haven't plotted. We are back on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. David Shelton will join us in just a moment. Let me hit a couple of basketball notes real quick. We're meshing basketball with football tonight. And Clemson held on to beat Wofford 76-68. 7-0 run over the last 68 seconds. So that game was much tighter. 1-point game, 2-point game the whole way. Very tight. Clemson wins at 76-68. We'll get more from Smitty Smitty, who was at the game later in the show, PJ Hall, with 22 for the Tigers. USC is down to Princeton, 31-25 at the half. Gamecock's being led by Cousinard with 6. They're shooting 38% from the floor. 1 of 10 from 3. That's the problem. Princeton's 5 of 17. The Gamecocks have not taken a free throw. So that's not good. And they've taken 10 threes, and they've only hit 1. Furman beat Louisville tonight. I said on Sports Talk, I don't like to go back and say I told you so, Pat, but I said, watch out for Furman in this game with Louisville. Don't think they're going to go up there and get walked on. And Furman beat Louisville tonight up in Louisville. Another huge win. That was in overtime, too. 80 to 72. 80-72, the Paladins over Louisville tonight. Charleston Southern lost to Ole Miss 93-68. Citadel beat Morris 108-67. And the Charlotte 49ers over Upstate 76-64. Presbyterian beat VMI in overtime. I think it's over. 73-72. College of Charleston, a winner over Lipscomb, 86-77. I think that covers the in-state teams. Of course, the USC women were winners tonight over South Dakota as well. Let's welcome in David Shelton to the high school football scoreboard now. He was at that Lexington Goose Creek game. And Lexington is moving on. How about that?
Yeah, played very well. Really, the game was very close in the first half. 7-7 at the half. And it looked like we were just going to be in for one of those knockdown dragouts. And in a minute and 17 seconds, Lexington scored 2 touchdowns to go up 21-7, and they coasted to a 28-14 win. They got a 60-something yard run by Tyler Walker on the third play of the third quarter. Then they kicked off, and Goose Creek, it was a short one of those high pooch kicks, and Goose Creek did not field it. So Lexington fell on it at about the 30, and on their second play, they scored another touchdown on a 30-yard run. So it went from 7-7 to 21-7 in the span of a minute and 17 seconds, and that pretty much sealed the deal. Lexington was able to run the football very effectively. Their defense really played well against the run tonight. Demetri Simmons is a Goose Creek running back that is, really good. Over 1,700 yards rushing this season. And he had 20 yards at the half on 12 carries. And he didn't have 50 yards until the fourth quarter when he broke off about a 35-yard touchdown run. To make it was 28-7 when he did it. So Lexington's defense played. Now they're going to go to Dutch Fork, who beat Chapin. And not Dutch Fork, Port Dorchester. They'll go there next week, and I give them a shot. I think the way Fort played tonight offensively, I think Zoltan Osborne threw for like 390 yards and 4 touchdowns. So looks like they got their offense in gear. But that'll be a tough battle for both teams. That'll be an interesting game to watch.
Oh, no question. All right, hang on, David. Let me update a few other scores that come in, and then we'll hit the break, and then we'll get some more reporters out in the fields on with us. These are brand new scores. Abbeville beat Saluda 49-34. Saluda put up a lot of points on that Abbeville defense. Hard to stop that Panther offense. St. Joseph's beat Christchurch 3-0. A field goal to nothing, 3-0. Lamar 14, McCormick nothing. C.E. Murray 58, Branchville 36. Also, fresh scores just coming in. Skeeza, Trinity Collegiate will play for the state championship. In Skeeza, they beat Augusta Christian 59-33. Congratulations, you get to play Hammond next week. Spartanburg beat Spring Valley. This was a good one. 37-29, that final score tonight. tonight. And the Vikings beat the Vikings. So the Vikings of the Upstate, they will advance in the 5A playoffs. All right, after the break. I think we've got all the scores in, so we'll go back through them. Get more reports on the air. We'll start dialing up some coaches here, too, as we move on through the rest of the program. We thank you for being with us here on the Sports Talk Media Network. This is the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss
All
your
right,
stuff.
let's get these scores in here.
Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work.
Trinity
Text
Collegiate
and pretend to work.
59-33.
Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that
But we
they're on
have
their phone the whole
Phantom
time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time.
37-29.
Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Moscow rebuffing allegations that a buildup of Russian troops near the Ukraine border reflects the Kremlin's aggressive intentions. Spokesman is dismissing media reports alleging that Moscow has intentions to invade Ukraine. White House says that President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping will hold their virtual summit Monday evening. White House says no major announcements likely from that meeting. President Biden is nominating former FDA Commissioner Dr. Robert Califf to again lead that agency. Califf served as FDA Commissioner for the final 11 months of the Obama administration. Prior to that, Califf spent more than 35 years as a researcher at Duke University. This is SRN News.
Wouldn't that Dutch score 56-0?
Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
How much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions.
I need Ridgeview Hillcrest.
When calling for services on your AC or heat at the house is getting ripped off. Unfortunately, it does happen. It won't 2A. Comfort Services. Jeremy and his team take pride in offering free, no obligation estimates. He encourages you to compare prices versus others. They're dependable.
Just need that Ridgeview score.
Online,
Need that Ridgeview score.
Or call Sweet Comfort Services HVAC at 803-331-8143. Your biggest fear when calling for services on your AC or heat at the house is getting ripped off. Unfortunately, it does happen. It won't with Sweet Comfort Services. Jeremy and his team take pride in offering free, no obligation estimates. He encourages you to compare Sweet's prices versus others. They're dependable and local. Online, it's sweethvac.com or call Sweet's Comfort Services HVAC at 803-331-8143.
For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited.
Right, why don't we have Ridgeview
We were in
Hillcrest?
awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertop. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated, and that's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit stoneinteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And, of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
56-3. Wah, 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 wah. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union on the second Friday night of the playoffs in South Carolina. Phil Kornbluth here in St. Louis, all the way to the other Columbia, the one in Missouri, the one that's really cold, one in South Carolina is not so cold. Pat Daniel back in our studios in the real Columbia in South Carolina. David Shelton from the Low Country joining us as well. We'll get to more of those scores in a moment, but some folks have been holding. I appreciate the patience. We go to Chris White to give us details on TL Hanna versus Gaffney tonight. Gaffney comes out with the win. Chris, thank you for joining us tonight. Tell us about the game.
It's my pleasure, Phil. Thank you so much for having us. And really, with TL Hanna going on the road to a very difficult opponent with the Gaffney Indians, it was always an uphill battle for the Yellow Jackets. And it started off with an even bigger hill to climb as Gaffney is able to force a punt on the opening drive for the Yellow Jackets, and then lightning strikes quickly as Gaffney's able to put it in the end zone with their opening drive of the game. But then the Yellow Jackets were able to respond after a short field on a kickoff return by by Najee Williams that was able to put Hanna in great field position, capitalized on the great field position, and leveled things up at 7. But then it became a show for the Gaffney defense. They played very well for the remainder of that first half, and Gaffney was able to stretch out their lead to 21-7. But then right before the half, the Yellow Jackets get the football, and we're able to say in the booth that really if the Yellow Jackets don't do something here before halftime, they could be getting late early because Hanna was going to be kicking the ball off to start the second half. And the Yellow Jacket offense responds by scoring a touchdown with 2 seconds left on the clock in the first half to cut it to a 21-14 lead for the Gaffney Indians. Felt a little bit of momentum coming out into the second half, but it was quickly snuffed out as Gaffney was able to strike for a touchdown to restore their 2-touchdown lead. And then Hanna was finally able to put together some things through the passing game, including a 45-yard pass to Cam Johnson, setting up a 1-yard touchdown run. And Hanna cut it to a one-score game, 28-20. And then on the PAT, reliable kicker Logan McConnell simply slipped. Plant foot goes out from under him. The missed PAT left Hanna with a 28-20 deficit. Then after a great defensive stand, the Yellow Jackets were able to get the ball back. They were able to score a touchdown, but were not able to convert the 2-point conversion, leaving us to a 28-26 score. Then Gaffney gets the ball back. They have it 4th and 7. Yellow Jackets with an opportunity to get off the field in plus territory. A little too short for a punt from the Indians, and too far for a field goal, so Gaffney decides to go toward on 4th and 7. A great pass connection on the pitch and catch, and Gaffney able to convert on 4th down, run some more clock before finally scoring a touchdown with 1:22 left. And then TL Hanna throws a game-stealing interception with around 35 seconds left to give us the final score of 34-26. The Yellow Jackets going down in defeat and unable to retain their upper state championship and get another opportunity to win a state championship down in Columbia this year.
Wow. Heck of a ball game. They had another great year, though. They continue to build that program and put one good season on top of another. You're not always going to make it to Columbia, but you're at that point now where people expect to be competitive every year.
Absolutely, and with a roster that included 41 seniors, I'm sure a lot of people may look at that and say, well, it was a good run while it lasted, but the JV program goes 9-0 this season, so the cupboard is not bare. And I look forward to another great season of TL Hanna football next year as they try to make another deep run in the postseason once again.
Well, Chris, thank you very much. And tell Kevin, thanks very much for his contributions throughout the season. We look forward to hearing from you guys next year.
Thank you, Phil. I'm here listening as I'm trying to navigate our way out of the reservation. So appreciate you having us on.
As always, don't get stuck in a ditch in Gaffney,
okay?
No, please no.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good
Thank you, guys.
Columbia, Phil. Thank you.
Yeah, man. The other Columbia. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Gaffney over
TL Hanna 34-26. Only game we're waiting to finish or get a final on. Unless it's popped up here in the last couple of moments. Hillcrest and Ridgeview. We had an in-progress score in the fourth quarter. 47-41.
Ridgeview.
David, have you seen a final come across on that?
No, that's the last score I saw was like 40-something to 40-something. Yeah, that's the last one I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, 47-41 is the last thing we've gotten
on that. So
nothing else there.
Let's continue with reports tonight. We'll get to the scores again in just a moment. So we welcome Monty Dutton, who was on hand for Clinton and Lower Richland over in Hopkins. And the Red Devils just not going to be denied tonight, at least by Lower Richland, Monty. Offensive game, really both ways, but I guess when necessary, when needed, Clinton came up with some defense.
Well, the game turned on a fantastic play. Clinton was once down 27-13 in the game. They got to 7 points at half, but with the score tied 34, Clinton was punting on 4th and 9 around midfield, and the quarterback, Davis Wilson, is also the punter. He also missed the opening round playoff game and was back in action after having an ankle sprain that he allowed him to miss the Palmetto game. But anyway, he took the snap, rolled out to the right, looked hopelessly pinned in, ran all the way to the other sideline, and before he got out of bounds, he threw the ball, and it was caught by Justin Copeland, and that set up the go-ahead score, and Clinton added another one. But it is a play that anyone who saw it won't forget it. And the game, I believe, now I might be wrong, but I believe that Clinton, of their 7 touchdowns, one was a catch by CJ. One was a touchdown catch, but Bryson James and Jyshawn Copeland each had 3 touchdowns for the Red Devils, at least by my unofficial count on the sidelines. You know, I'm at a disadvantage with all these radio guys because they've had all the facts they've been doing. I've been sitting on the sideline with a camera trying to keep up with everything. But it was a very entertaining game. Lower Richland has a fine team. Clinton is now 11-1. Lower Richland finishes at 10-2. And it was a marvelous night of high school football. And I felt as if it was really a privilege to cover this game tonight.
Well, you think that was a privilege?
How about the one you'll cover next week? Clinton against Daniel.
That's going to be a classic.
I would say.
Well, you know, Daniel has looked overpowering all season, but I think when it doesn't take much of looking at Clinton has a very good team, and it is a team that has gotten better and better, and they have not. It's funny, but it's just I said that. The Clinton school bus is riding by me on the interstate.
Well, don't hit
What
him.
a safe driver I am. What a safe driver I am if the team bus is passing me on the way home.
Think of the story you could create if
you were to wreck them.
And they could say,
our beat writer ran us off the road and caused us to have a wreck. We didn't get home until 3 in the morning. All because of him.
You're right, Phil. And that's why I prudently decided to pass them again.
Well, you're slipping into your NASCAR mode too.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's right. Well, don't get me started.
But, no, we won't.
Well, also tell you, I own a Lawrence County website and an Anderson County website, Electric City Sports, and a Furman site. And earlier today, my general manager and I were talking, and we said, well, it won't be that bad a night unless, of course, Furman would upset Louisville, and then that would have to go right to the top. So, so that'll be the first thing I do when I get home tonight.
Great win by the Paladins. That's on Sports Talk. Don't be surprised if Furman wins that game. I mean, they're that good. Wofford gave
Clemson everything it wanted. Those teams
are good teams. You can't
roll the ball out
with those guys and expect to win. They're good basketball teams.
Furman will give almost anyone a hard time if they're shooting well.
Yeah.
Monty,
we thank you. Have a great night.
Have a great weekend.
We'll talk to you next week after that big ball game.
Thanks very much.
Enjoyed it, Phil.
As always. All right, Monty Dutton, story on Clinton's win and a whole bunch more. Speaking of basketball, USC Princeton 33 all, 13:51 to go. And earlier tonight, the USC women won big at South Dakota, 72-41. And we mentioned Wofford was a close loser up at Clemson. We'll hear from Matt Smith in a little bit. Clemson pulling away late to win that ball game 76-68. And let's double check and see. Yes, sir.
Don't look now, too, but Brown is currently holding a 1-point lead over UNC. Now UNC just hit a 3 to go back in front. But Brown is playing neck and neck with North Carolina in Chapel Hill right now with 6 minutes left in regulation.
Well, I mean, that's all about Jason Brown. Jason Brown started this Brown movement. What Brown can do for you. And Jason Brown, David Shelton, Jason Brown will continue that movement tomorrow at Missouri. What do you think?
You're asking me about Gamecock football?
I thought I might.
Wow. We must not have anything else other to talk about.
We got this final. The last one is in high school league. And Ridgeview defeats Hillcrest 47-41. So I tell you what, let's take the break. We'll come back and be able to reset everything. We'll get all the finals in for the high school league. Set up all the pairings. We get David to break down on these games. Start looking ahead. We'll get more reports as well. Hang on. It's the high school football scoreboard coming to you from Missouri and from the great state of South Carolina. We'll continue after this break on the Sports Talk Media Network, the High School Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Back in a moment.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. Futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
I learned that people are just looking for somebody to listen to them.
You can't just start cutting somebody's hair and you're going to be quiet the whole time because you're not going to be in business long.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has provided over $800 million to help students attend technical colleges across our state, investing in a new generation of entrepreneurs, just like James. Your passion is our purpose.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there. Offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
In Irma, call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171.
We are back on the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Let's get a couple more reports in. We'll dive into these scores. Don't want these guys to have to wait too long. George Adams with the story tonight on Sherrod's win as the Braves pulled out a white knuckler, a nail biter, 27-26. George, how'd they do it?
Uh-oh, Corn, can you still hear us? We've lost your audio there for a moment.
No, I hear y'all. I don't hear
y'all. I don't hear George.
Well, we couldn't hear you bringing him in. We'll bring in George right now.
No, I'm sorry. George, welcome in. Tell us about how the Braves pulled out that win, 27-26
over Timberland.
Yeah, you don't love me anymore. Timberland got on the board first with about 5 to go. Amari Jenkins, and they lead 7-0. Then senior Demarion McCaskill from 31 yards out. Man, it burst of speed. Extra point kick is no good. Roman Watford from 24 yards out, 13-6. That's the way it ended at the half. And then you just talked about what can Brown do for you. Well, I'm going to tell you what Zay Brown of the Braves can do. 2 yards out, 5:20 to go in the third. Then 10 yards out, 3:25 to go in the game, knots it up at 20. Then we go to OT in the Kansas City shootout. Braves had the ball first, 10 yards from, of course, Zay Brown. You could say that Zay Brown trucked it in, 20-20 after the extra point. Then Jenkins scored the first touchdown for Timberland, scored the last one in the OT, and Coach Greg Wright decided to go for the 2-point conversion. And Jenkins off the right side, and the entire student body of Sherrod was waiting on him, did not get in, and the Braves pull it out in OT, 27-26, and move on to round 3 of the playoffs against Silver Bluffs Bulldogs.
Kind of feels like the old days, Sherrod, Silver Bluffs meeting in
the playoffs.
You know what? That crossed my mind too. Great minds work alike, or blind hogs occasionally find an acorn. But it does feel like that. And of course, they beat Central tonight, 49-0. So a lot of work to be done for the Braves. But man, it's good to be at home.
No question about it. It's good to be playing football, getting into late November. That's the goal every year, isn't it?
The goal every year is to practice on Thanksgiving morning because you're playing for either lower or upper state championships.
Yes, sir. George, we thank you, my man. We appreciate you, and have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, go Demon Deacons.
Okay.
Demon Deacons.
I guess he means his Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Well, they got
to
deal with NC State, and then maybe they'll deal with Clemson after that. Thank you, George. We appreciate that very much. Kevin Ireland, the voice of the Sumter Gamecocks now, with the story on Sumter's win tonight. The Gamecocks move on in the 5A playoffs in the lower states. Congratulations. You get to play Dutch Fork next week. So, let's talk about the win tonight. How they look.
It was good. It was a good win. A good win. Last week when I talked to you, I didn't realize statistically we go 28 points per ball game and giving up 7. And guess what? The night score was 28-7. Two big plays for the Gamecocks. Jabari Tiller went 46 yards, second possession for Sumter, and scored the first touchdown. Then he took a 4th down and 2 and scored in the fourth possession. And he went from 16 yards out, 14-0 Sumter. Jalen Berry for the Bradford Knights went on a 30-yard pass win. I kept the lead at halftime, 14-7. And then Sumter kind of put it away in the second half. Ended up holding Trafford 68-yard rushing, 75-yard pass, and put 2 more scores up on the board to make it 28-7. Sumter had 2 backs over 100 yards, 300 yards rushing, 61 yards passing, 361 total yards. And the best thing was we only had about 4 penalties the whole night.
Yeah.
An average of.
So you get Dutch Fork next week, and I imagine this is something that they were looking forward to, and they're not going to back away from the challenge. And they'll try and bring their best game next week to Columbia.
Well, I think it was 3rd round last year at Dutch Fork, and we lost 23-0. That was the game was closer than that, but I don't know. Of course, they have to come to us.
Did we lose Kevin?
Oh, I'm still here. You got it?
Yeah, I heard. Repeat that last part. I lost you there.
I said this year they have to come to us. Some rule that says something about you can't take the same team, same round 2 years in a row. I don't know. I just know we're playing in Sumter next weekend.
Oh, so you're hosting next weekend.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
we'll see if that works to your advantage. And thanks for the report as always. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Phil. Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right. Kevin Ireland, story on the Sumter win tonight. All right. Let's bring David Shelton back in. Why is Dutch Fork having to go on the road to play that game, David?
That is the Steve LaPrade rule. A couple years ago, they had to go to Fort Dorchester, had to go to Dutch Fork 2 years in a row in the lower state playoffs. So he got mad, and he got some people behind him, and they changed the rules. So now if you play a team that you played the previous year and you hosted them, the next time you have to go to them regardless of the bracket.
Wow.
So
wow.
If Dutch Fork goes to Sumter and wins, they would have to go to Fort Dorchester as well in the lower state finals. So it kind of, because of the way they do preset the bracket, it ended up 2 years in a row that Region 5 got a home game in the 4th round of lower state finals or whatever, and it's supposed to rotate. So they came up with this plan to where if you play a repeat opponent, you don't get to be at home. I think that's why Hannah went to Gaffney. No, that's not why. I thought they would have had to go to Gaffney either way if they had won the region. But regardless, it's just one of those rules, and you got to win on the road to win a state championship. So go play and don't whine about it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Dutch Fork doesn't really care, but I didn't realize they put that rule in.
No, it doesn't bother them.
But They're not gonna blank over that. I can tell you. All right. Let's start going through these scores, and then I'll try and reach some coaches in the next hour. So in the 5A, everything's in. We've got Ridgeview beating Hillcrest first of all, David, 47-41, and they will get Spartanburg next week. Spartanburg beats Spring Valley 37-29. Gaffney over TL Hanna 34-26. And they'll get Northwestern next week. Northwestern over Burns 42-3. In the lower state, Dutch Fork 56-0 over Cane Bay. Sumter 28, Stratford 7. Lexington 28, Goose Creek 14. And Fort Dorchester 44, Shafer 21. Princeton leading USC 43-42. We're back after the top of the hour.
Afternoon and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. MakeThePointRadio.com. The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. President Biden's approval rating continues to plummet. Correspondent Bernie Bennett reports.
The Rasmussen Report daily presidential tracking poll shows that 42% of likely U.S. voters approve of President Biden's job performance, 57% disapprove. The latest figures include 21% who strongly approve of the job Mr. Biden is doing and 49% who strongly disapprove. This gives him a presidential approval rating of -28. At this point in his presidency, President Trump had an approval rating of 44%, ahead of where President Biden is today. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Kremlin rebuffing allegations that a major buildup of Russian troops near Ukraine reflects Moscow's aggressive intentions. A spokesman at the Kremlin is sharply dismissing media reports alleging that Moscow has intentions to, quote, invade Ukraine. Also at townhall.com, President Biden and his Chinese counterpart holding their much anticipated virtual summit Monday evening.
The two global leaders are looking to dial back tensions after a rough start to the U.S.-China relationship since Mr. Biden took office.
The two leaders will discuss ways to responsibly manage the competition between the United States and the PRC, as well as ways to work together where our interests align.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the administration believes in competition, but also diplomacy. Officials are setting low expectations for the video call. They say no major announcements are expected to come from the meeting. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Uncle Sam telling nursing homes to open the doors wide to visitors, easing many remaining pandemic restrictions, while urging residents, families, and staff to keep their guard up against any outbreaks. Facilities will no longer be able to limit the frequency and length of visits or required advanced scheduling. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The Democratic sweep officially in place, we are now at the mercy of tax and spend economics. Get ready for runaway national debt pushing the further devaluation of the dollar. So if you haven't invested in gold, now is the time to protect your savings. Birch Gold Group is the premier precious metals IRA company in America. With an A+ BBB rating and thousands of satisfied customers, Birch Gold can help you move an eligible IRA or 401k into an IRA backed by gold. Go to birchgold.com/radio for your free information kit. That's birchgold.com/radio. President Biden has declared war on the small business owners of America. He's pushed for a massive tax increase, and his $2 trillion infrastructure plan is a $2 trillion tax hike on American employers. Job Creators Network works hard to fight these attacks, and they're looking for a few good men and women to join their small business advocacy and advisor program. They will prepare you to be a leader for small businesses in your community, your state, and the country you love. If you want to join the fight, go to joinjcn.com now. That's joinjcn. They need you. America needs you.
Police in Saudi Arabia have stopped an attempt to smuggle 2.3 million Captagon pills into that country.
The spread of Captagon in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf is one of the offshoots of the war in Syria. It's mainly manufactured. It's been used by fighters on the battlefield. Now it's a huge illegal business with its tentacles in Lebanon and Jordan too. Saudi customs agents are on the alert for its illicit arrival at all border crossings around the country. The drugs have been found in shipments of fruit and vegetables. One find of 5 million pills stuffed in pomegranates led to a ban on such imports from Lebanon. The economic collapse there and in Syria has only intensified the trade in the drug.
BBC correspondent Sebastian Usher. Police continue to investigate a concert last week in Houston that left 9 people dead and dozens more hurt. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back, because smiling is in you. From PassItOn.com.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard on the Sports Talk Media Network. Coming up, scores and reports from across the state and analysis from David Shelton. The Scoreboard is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now your host for the High School Scoreboard, Phil Kornblut.
All right, we're back for hour number 2 of the High School Football Scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union on this Friday night, where we've got the second round of the High School League playoffs, and we've got the second round of the SCISA playoffs, which lead into championship games next week for SCISA. We've got David Shelton with us, and we may get some more reports in, and we're going to try and ring up some coaches as well here in our second hour of the program tonight. So, David, we just went over the 5A bracket. So we've got Ridgeview and Spartanburg, Gaffney and Northwestern in the upper state, and lower state, Dutch Fork and Sumter, Lexington and Fort Dorchester. What did you make of what came out of the 5A bracket tonight?
Not a lot of surprises. I guess some people would think that Lexington beating Goose Creek was an upset, but I felt like that would be a close game, anybody's game. So I kind of think it's kind of going as chalk. Maybe Ridgeview was an upset, but they're a very good football team. So, I thought Northwestern would beat Burns. I thought Sumter would win. I thought Dutch Fork would win. So it's going about like we thought.
Mm-hmm. What about this Ridgeview team do you like, and how will they match up with Spartanburg, you think, next week?
Well, they'll match up very well. They're very athletic. They have a lot of experience. They have a lot of seniors. Good defense. I guess you probably couldn't tell by the score tonight, but they are athletic on defense. They have a good quarterback, good balance on offense. They'll definitely have a shot to go beat Spartanburg. I mean, that Spartanburg might be favored, but Ridgeview's got a shot to beat them. I think personally that the Northwestern Gaffney winner is going to win the upper state title and play Dutch Fork in the state championship. So we'll see what happens, but I think that Gaffney Northwestern game could end up being a classic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you like as far as the strengths and weaknesses of the two teams matching up with one another, Gaffney, Northwestern? How do you break that down?
Well, I mean, they're both really good on offense. They both can throw the football. Both of them have really good defenses. Northwestern maybe just a tad better on defense. A lot of experience. They fly to the football. Both teams are well coached. I mean, it would take a long review of film to break this down. I mean, both teams have good quarterbacks, and that kind of gives them a chance because quarterback play in high school is so important. And both those kids, Grayson Loftus and Will Madison, are really good players.
Yeah. Lower state, Dutch Fork, Sumter, and Goose Creek. Lexington and Fort Dorchester. So those are your four there. And Sumter, they drew the short straw, I guess. Of course, they knew, as the brackets were put together, that eventually they'd have to get through Dutch Fork to get to that next round. How mammoth a task is this for Sumter? Or is Sumter the best team yet that Dutch Fork will play this season that is suited to give them a game and have a chance to maybe be there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I would say Sumter is probably the best defense that Dutch Fork will have played. I mean, people overlook how good the Dutch Fork defense is. I don't know if Sumter can score enough. I've said it all year. Teams like Fort Dorchester and Dutch Fork, the opponent's going to have to find a way to score in the 30 because those two teams are going to find a way to score in the 30. And I don't know that Sumter has enough offense to do that to Dutch Fork. I don't know if anybody does because Dutch Fork's going to put up 35, 40, 45 points just about every time they walk on the field. So you got to score with them, and nobody's been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to the 4A bracket. Well, before we do that, thoughts on Lexington and Fort Dorchester? And that will be at Fort Dorchester, right? I think you pointed that out.
Yeah.
And Lexington got a nice win, so they got to go back down I-26 to Fort D. And, Fort Dorchester lying in wait and looking for their chance maybe to win that game next week and get their shot at Dutch Fork.
Yeah, I think Fort would be favored to beat Lexington, having seen both teams now. Lexington was able to run the football really well tonight. Well, that defensive line at Fort Dorchester is legit. They make it very hard to run on. So Lexington's going to have to be able to throw the ball and spread them out a little bit. But Lexington's defense is pretty solid. I like the way they played tonight. And Fort Dorchester's got a really good offense, so they'll have to be at their best, no doubt.
All right. Let's do the 4As, and then Matt Smith will break in and give us the recap on Clemson's basketball win tonight over Wofford. And then we'll continue having to kind of mesh everything together tonight because all this stuff is happening on a Friday night. By the way, Princeton leading USC 53-48, 5:26 to play up in Asheville. So we've got, hang on, David. We got a hot call. From Billy Baker. Billy Baker is at Andrew Jackson Academy and Clarendon Hall. And we got Andrew Jackson head coach Chad Gleaton standing by with him. That must mean that AJ was the winner tonight. Billy, hot call. Welcome in. How are you?
Well, Phil and David, I thought I had seen it all in all my years of being on the sidelines of high school football. I was actually reprimanded tonight by an official. There were 7 touchdowns called back in this game tonight, and right at 30 penalties, and they had offsetting, penalties on 11 plays. And the survivor of this game was Andrew Jackson Academy, 34-30 over Clarendon Hall. And I was not going to leave the sideline covering the game because I'm blind at my old age. I have to move down the sideline and keep in touch with the ball because the announcer never knows where the ball's at much. And what basically happened was Andrew Jackson Academy caught the ball legal as you can catch it. It'll be on all the films. He cradled the ball, got knocked out of bounds, and the official called it a juggle. He literally cradled the ball in his stomach inside the white line, and I'm 5 yards from the play. And I know I'm a sports writer, but I don't want any team cheated or anything else. This was, I'm on the record, Dr. Spencer Jordan, the worst high school officiated game I've seen in 36 years, and this crew should go on vacation. Both coaches will tell you it was the most embarrassing officiated game. I don't think they even let anybody get in a flow. But I will tell Gamecock fans that Kalik Horton played a 5-star game tonight in a losing effort. I'll give you Horton's stats because he really played a whale of a ball game. He had 3 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. He passed for 46 yards out of the Wildcat, and then he rushed for 110 yards. So the future Gamecock, if you do the math, was about 260 yards. and he played a whale of a ball game. But I'll tell you this, Andrew Jackson Academy played with a lot of guts. Here's what happened on their side of the ball. Jonathan Shafer, who will officially visit Coastal Carolina next Saturday, may have an offer coming. The outstanding linebacker, shade under 6'3", 248, runs a 4.73. Tonight, 9 tackles for the strongest athlete in South Carolina. And he rushed for 114 yards on 16 carries. Quarterback Bug Brunson rushed for 13 times, 90 yards, had 6 tackles on defense, and Bug had a key interception against Thornton late in the fourth quarter that kind of sealed the win. Carson Cone, a 4'6" kid, rushed the ball 12 times for 80 yards, and Chase Carson was 4 for 54. Andrew Jackson Academy had 4 passes called back tonight. One was the touchdown pass of 28 yards where there was no juggling at all. It'll be clearly on the film. The kid cradled the ball. I have not any clue why you'd call that a juggle. Anyway, it's 34-30. Here are some very good statistics. Andrew Jackson Academy is 87-4 over the last 6 seasons. They have won 4 state titles. They have played in the state title game 6 of the last 7 years, and they have a strong senior group. 87-4 is probably right up there with Dutch Fork's record. I don't know if any actual football team in our state is 87-4 over 7 seasons. I give you a very frustrated and tired Chad Gleaton, who will express his opinions in the absolute worst officiated game in my history of following high school football. This game was atrociously officiated, and we can do better. One last thing. Giza will play their state title games next Friday night at Charleston Southern. Hammond will play against whoever, I think it was Augusta Christian against the
Trinity
team from
Collegiate.
Darlington.
Trinity
Yes, sir.
Collegiate won that
And-
one. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then noon on Saturday is Class A Skeeza, and 5 o'clock is Double A Skeeza. But the 8-man Skeeza game will be 7 o'clock next Friday night at Calhoun Academy. And I give you a very tired Chad Gleaton, and he might want to talk about the officiating because he apologized to the other team. I watched him apologize for an atrociously bad officiated football game. Here's Chad Gleaton live from AJA office. Take it away, Chad.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Billy. Billy
Hey,
needs
Bill.
to take a drink. Coach, how are you?
Yeah, I will leave the officiating alone. I think Mr. Billy touched on it enough.
I think,
you know,
I think he drilled that. He put that nail in the coffin pretty well.
All I'll say is, yeah, I did go talk to the other team because, you know, there's, you know, several of those kids were seniors, and I know somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And I told them, you know, I apologize for that's the way it ended for them. But anyway, you know, moving on, you know, that's tournament football. You survive in advance. We get to play again.
Absolutely. The nature of that game, the way Billy described it, the stop and start and the overturns and the rulings and all that, how did you guys maintain your poise and keep your flow going?
Very carefully. You know, yeah, Billy's laughing because he witnessed, you know, my outrage on the sideline most of the game. You know, my assistant coaches did a good job of, you know, trying to maintain order. And our kids did a good job of playing the next play. You know, that's all you can do when things are happening like that. You know, but, you know, in the end, you know, our physicality won out. And that's the way we play football. And, you know, we have some really good athletes at the school. You know, he was talking about our record, and you know, here in the last few, you know, these kids work really hard in the weight room. They believe in our program and our system, and it shows. And in times like tonight, whenever things are going wrong, things are going bad, that's what they fall back on. And we were fortunate to come out with a win. That's all you can say about it.
Do you know your opponent? That's the one score that we do not have of all the scores in the state tonight. Patrick Henry, Holly Hill. Have you heard the score winner there?
Yeah. Holly Hill won 62-24. 62-24. So we'll have
Over Patrick Henry.
So we'll have a rematch against Holly Hill crowd. And, they be tough, and they don't. We lost to them earlier in the year in a tough game here at AJ. They had a good plan. They came in, executed, and they made about 3 plays, and in a close game, that's all it takes. So it's gonna be a battle, and our kids are looking forward to it. I'm not gonna say that. First of all, Kylie Horton is a football player. I was fortunate enough to play football in college, and this kid is amazing. What he can do on the football, I've never seen before. I've seen my share of football. He can impose his will and change a football game, and Carolina's getting a good one there, I can tell you.
Coach, congratulations. What a run you guys have been on. Appreciate you and Billy getting to us, and good luck next week. We'll be watching to see what happens. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to give Mr. Billy some oxygen, see if he can make sure he'll be okay for the drive home. Have a good night.
There you go. Yeah. Cool him off. Thank you very much. Okay. Coach Chad Gleaton from Andrew Jackson Academy, 34-30 over Clarendon Hall. David, apparently, according to Billy Baker, there was a bad call or two in that ball game, if you didn't notice.
Oh, I couldn't tell. I thought it was a well officiated game. I thought that's what he was talking about. But you know what? It's 8-man football, and that's got to be the hardest game to officiate. I mean, it's really crazy. But I don't. I mean, I've seen bad officiating. I don't quite go off on that tangent. but yeah, I would say that, maybe, I don't know. But that's going to be a good state championship game. Holly Hill is the defending champion, and you heard Coach Gleaton say they beat Andrew Jackson earlier this year. I think Holly Hill will win the game again. I think they're the best team, but that 8-man stuff is some crazy football. A lot of things can happen in that stuff.
It sounds like it. All right, we're running late. Got to go to a break. Garrett Mitchell's going to give us details on. Yeah, really. That's what happens when the hot call comes in. We answer the red line, the hot call, and sometimes it gets a little long. We'll hear from Garrett Mitchell. Hopefully Smitty is still with us. He's probably driven home, gotten in bed, got himself some warm milk, and but we'll wake him up and get him back on with us. And then we're going to try and hit up some coaches too. So we'll be back. More of the Scoreboard.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
All right, update that South Carolina basketball game, 52.4 left. Princeton's up 5, 61-56. Back out to reporters in the fields tonight. Man, we appreciate all the folks calling in with updates and scores and stories, including Garrett Mitchell, who, of course, is with the Woodruff play-by-play team, and the Wolverines go down to Daniel tonight, so the season's over, but another good year for Woodruff. And how did Daniel take care of business tonight, Garrett?
Well, Phil, first of all, I'm glad to talk to you one more time this year. And David, I certainly appreciate y'all having me on all season long. And I tell you, the final score from Daniel really betrays what a competitive ball game it was. It was a very close ball game. Daniel got on the board first. The two teams really traded 2 possessions until late in the first quarter. And it was Daniel who struck first on a 17-yard pick six. And that kind of got things rolling. That was about a minute to play in the first quarter. And it stayed 7-0 until midway through the second quarter. Daniel put together their first really sustained drive of the night. And they went down to the 14-0 lead. The Wolverines responded, converted on a big 3rd and long play down to the Daniel 1-yard line. And the sensational senior running back, Demarion Elmore, punched in his 21st touchdown of the season. That made it 14-7. Daniel up the lead right before the half with about a minute to go in the quarter. They went into the break 21-7. Woodruff got the ball coming out in the third quarter, and a great drive by the Wolverines was punctuated with another touchdown. This time it was a 24-yard pass from Carson Tucker to Jalen Tribble, and that made it a 21-14 ball game with about 7 minutes to play in the third. Daniel answered the score, and it was really a pattern of both teams trading scores for a while. And Daniel went back up 28-14, got a quick stop, scored once more. And then Woodruff got on the board for the final time with a 1-yard run from the halfback, Alejandro Quezada. And that made the score 35-21 early in the fourth quarter. So the Wolverines at that point had stood toe-to-toe with number 1 ranked Daniel. The game was still within striking distance. But Daniel did what number 1 teams do. They put together one more good drive, made it a 42-21 game, and they tacked on one more with about 50 seconds to play in the ball game on a short field. So the final score, 49-21, as I said, it kind of betrays just how competitive the game was. So a great season for my Wolverines. Hat tip to Daniel. They've got a tough Clinton team next week. But the best is ahead for the Wolverines, Phil. I tell you, Woodruff returns 9 starters on defense and 7 on offense, including quarterback Carson Tucker, a bevy of receivers, playmakers everywhere. Woodruff was about a year ahead of their time. Watch out for the Wolverines next year. They're going to be a team, especially if Daniel and Wren migrate back to 4A, which is some speculation I'm hearing with the new realignment. Things are wide open for Woodruff to make a big-time run with, quite frankly, the bulk of their team returning next season.
Well, it sounds like it, and we'll be looking forward to that. So, Garrett, thank you very much, man. We appreciate your reports all season long. Have yourself a great rest of the week and a good weekend. We'll talk to you again next football season.
Well, I tell you what, Phil, you might not be rid of me just yet. I'm actually road tripping with some buddies down to Sherrall next Friday night to watch the Braves take on the Silver Bluff Bulldogs, so I might just have to call in with a report from Sherrall next Friday.
That would be absolutely wonderful. We appreciate that very much.
You got it, Phil. You have a good one.
All right, thank you. David, how about Daniel beating Woodruff? And Daniel will get Clinton next week. And classic matchup there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think until someone beats Daniel, you got to keep thinking Daniel's going to survive. And Clinton will bring something for them, though. They'll bring a physicality. That game will get very physical. But Daniel kind of, if you had to pick, they're more of a finesse team offensively. So Clinton will try to knock them in the mouth, but I still think until somebody beats Daniel, you got to think the Lions are going to advance.
All right, got to hit a break here at the bottom of the hour here on the high school football scoreboard, and we will continue here after this bottom of the hour break. Going to try and hit up some coaches, get more from David, continue to go through these scores. As all the games are in now, we know all the finals and who will be playing who next week. We'll continue here on the scoreboard in just a moment.
At the time of Lewis and Clark's historic journey, North America's grizzly bear population may have numbered 100,000. But as the West was tamed, grizzlies were killed relentlessly, and much of their habitat was lost to development. Today, only about 1,600 grizzlies remain in the lower 48 states, and they are fighting for survival. The Vital Ground Foundation is a non-profit organization working to ensure the future of grizzly bears through the protection and restoration of crucial wildlife habitat. Vital Ground's dedication to conserving grizzly habitat goes well beyond saving a single species. When the land is wild enough for the grizzly, all other animals and plants in the ecosystem, including ourselves, benefit as well. It is said, where the grizzly can walk, the earth is healthy and whole. I'm Chris Morgan, bear ecologist and host of the PBS Nature series, Bears of the Last Frontier. To learn how you can help, please visit vitalground.org. That's vitalground.org.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. The government now telling nursing homes nationwide, open your doors all the way to visitors, easing any remaining pandemic restrictions. Although large groups of visitors are discouraged, nursing homes won't be allowed to limit the number of loved ones and friends who can call on residents. Medicare's Part B outpatient premium will jump by $21.60 next year. Officials say a new Alzheimer's drug is responsible for about half of that. The increase guarantees healthcare costs will take a big chunk of the recently announced cost of living allowance. Moscow rebuffing allegations that a buildup of Russian troops near Ukraine reflects the Kremlin's aggressive actions. They say there are no troops at the border. This is SRN News.
For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited the showroom. We were in awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertops. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated, and that's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit stoneinteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Maybe this is you too. A lot of people do not like their health plan right now, and they're worried they're stuck with it. One that costs too much or doesn't meet their needs, or for whatever reason, they're just not happy with it. If that is you, some great news. There really is another choice. It's called MediShare, and it's such a great option, especially if you're self-employed, changing jobs, or part of the gig economy. Here's what you get when you switch to MediShare. First, huge savings. The typical family saves $500 a month. You also get a massive doctor network, or you can just use the doctor of your choice, or MediShare's free 24/7 telehealth option. And you get to be part of something you can believe in. MediShare is a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills. No wonder MediShare gets double the customer satisfaction ratings compared with typical health insurance. So no, you are not stuck. You've got a great alternative. Call now. 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
Hey, Point listeners, this is Casey Whitener, and I'm the co-host of Right on SC on Saturday mornings. Join me and Rex Hurst talking about books, talking about writing, craft, marketing, publishing, the whole gambit. RightOnSC.blog, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on The Point. Hey, Point listeners, this is Casey Whitener, and I'm the co-host of Right on SC on Saturday mornings. Join me and Rex Hurst talking about books, talking about writing, craft, marketing, publishing, the whole gambit. RightOnSC.blog, Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on The Point.
All right, back we are for our final half hour of the high school football scoreboard on this Friday night. By the way, Princeton has defeated South Carolina 66-62 in that basketball game in Asheville. Let's get back out to reporters in the fields tonight. And Bill Hensley with the Greenwood broadcast crew. And Greenwood defeats Catawba Ridge tonight in the 4A playoffs. The Eagles advance 42-30. They'll get South Point next week. Bill, thank you for joining us. Obviously, a good offensive night for Greenwood once again.
Oh, yes. I think they ran the ball, let me see, 70, wait a minute, hold on. Let me get it here. 71 times for 423 yards. 71 times for 423 yards. B. Morton, the running back for Greenwood, ran it 42 times for 239 yards and 4 touchdowns tonight. So, and the quarterback for Catawba Ridge, Jaden Davis, went 28 for 42 for 349 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their receiver, Jacoby Henderson, caught 9 passes for 139 yards. He had a long one for 62 yards for a touchdown. Catawba Ridge got the opening kickoff, and they drove down the field. They ran it back down to the Greenwood 32-yard line. Went 22 yards, and Greenwood defense finally stiffened up, and they ended up kicking a 27-yard field goal, went up 3-0, and that was with 9:55 left in the first. Then Greenwood got the ball, and at 11:07, Greenwood scored. Lowndes Steele ran it in from 6 yards out, and Greenwood went up 7-3. Greenwood held and got the ball back, and V. Morton carried it for 9 yards. An extra point. There's 1:16 left in the half, and went up 14-3. And then not even 30 seconds later, that's when Davis hit Henderson for the 62-yard touchdown pass. And Tom's over here messing with me. And went up 14-9. Extra point was no good. It went 14-9. Then third quarter, Greenwood got the ball back. That's Tom yelling right there. How about them Eagles? So you... And then Greenwood came out and scored on a 3-yard run by B. Morton again for 21-9. Then B. Morton had a 41-yard touchdown run with 6:21 left in the third. Greenwood goes up 28-9. Then Dylan Rafferty had a 5-yard run. Greenwood went up 35-9 with 11:34 in the fourth, and then kind of Greenwood kind of started substituting in, and of course, Catawba Ridge kind of took advantage of it on the passing game, trying to get back into it. Jane Davis had a 1-yard run for Catawba Ridge, made it 35-17 with a 2-point conversion. Then with 5:15 left in the fourth, Jane Davis again with a 1-yard run, made it 35-23, then went for 2 and did not get it. Greenwood got the ball back with 3:36 left. Reed Morton has scored again from 4 yards out, made it 42-23, and then Jaden Davis passes to Trevor Chesterman for 2 yards. The extra point made it 42-30, and Greenwood just ran the clock out with 20 seconds left in the game. He got the ball back. They play South Point. The Stallions come down to Greenwood next week to the Bad. Scouting report on them is that South Point is kind of run dominant too, but they will pass the ball on us. So I'm a little worried about that a little bit with our secondary somewhat because we're young in that secondary. But I think we can pull it off. I think Greenwood's back. Coach Langer's got them going again, and everybody's really pumped up this year, like they were kind of last year. So yeah,
it sounds that way. It sounds that way. Bill, thank you.
Go ahead.
We got to get to another reporter, but we thank you very much for the report, and you guys have a great weekend, and we'll look to hear from you next week.
All right, y'all have a good one. All right.
You too, buddy. Thank you. All right, Bill Hensley, story there on Greenwood's win over Catawba Ridge. One more report to get in, and it's Chris Deering, who was at that Greenville AC Flora game in Columbia. Greenville High comes down to Columbia, Chris, and beats Flora 27-26. Was this something they pulled out at the end?
It absolutely was, Phil. It's a game that I was looking forward to all week, and it lived up to expectations. They got the winning touchdown pass with 28 seconds to go. Franklin hit Tyler Brown from 4 yards out, and put them up 27-26. They went for 2, did not get it. Flora got the ball back, got it to about midfield on the kickoff, and looked to be in pretty good shape, maybe to try to get in the field goal range, but could not really move the football. And Greenville has advanced to the third round for just one of the few times in school history, actually.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I remember a few years ago they weren't very good at all, so they've really turned it around. And what did you think of Franklin, Sapp, the tight end who's committed to Clemson, some of the other players they have? What did you think of the makeup of their team?
Well, I'll tell you, they have a good-looking team, Phil. I saw them in the preseason at a media day, and they looked good there, and they looked even better on the football field. The Sapp kid that's going to Clemson, he's a tight end, sort of a hybrid type guy. He can line up out wide. He had a pretty big night. I don't have numbers yet. I'm waiting on Coach Porter to send me some numbers. But he had a pretty good night. I think he had 2 touchdowns. And I'll tell you what, this first time I got to see Pro Franklin, and the kid is a legit. He's a player. He got out of the pocket several times, and he extended plays, and he kept his eyes downfield. He's not a kid that really wants to run the football. He keeps looking downfield, and he's got a huge arm, and he made several throws tonight that just made me, turn to the guy next to me and say, that's a college quarterback throw right there. And he did that several times tonight. So I came away really impressed with him. Whoever gets him's going to get a really good player. And I can't wait to see what he does at the next level.
What does this mean for AC Flora? I mean, they've had a great run, championship last year, good teams prior, really good team this year. Do they slip a little bit, or do they bounce back next year?
Well, they've got 4 losses in 3 years, and 2 of them came this year by 1 point. So it's hard to, keep that level unless you're Dutch Fork, obviously. But they got some good kids in the pipeline. They're running back Markel Townsend. I think he's really talented. he's only a junior. They got another running back that stepped in this year, and he's a freshman. I think they got to find a quarterback next year. Phillip Daniels graduates, and they lose a lot on both sides of the line, offensive and defensive line. But I think Coach Dustin Curtis has really got a good program over there, and they'll be back. I feel certain of that.
Okay, my man. Hey, thank you very much. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll hear from you next week.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. You have a great weekend, too.
Thank you. Chris Deering, who writes for a number of different people. I think, what is his website? SC Preps? Is that what it is? scpreps.com. Let's just look up Chris Deering. You can Google Chris and find his stuff. Does a great job covering high school football in the Midlands. So, David, we went over the 5As, and I think we touched on the 4As. So you've got Greenville beating AC Flora. You've got Irmo over Westside. You've got South Point beating Lawrence and Greenwood beating Catawba Ridge in the Upstate. So what do you think of the matchups next week? Greenville, Irmo, and South Point and Greenwood.
I think the South Point Greenwood game will be one of the top games in the state. I think Greenville's going to beat Irmo. I thought this was a big challenge for them tonight, and to go to Florida and beat the defending champs is going to propel them. I kind of think Greenwood's going to beat South Point. I think we're going to get a rematch of an earlier season game where Greenville played Greenwood, and the winner of that's going to go to Columbia. And Irmo is kind of the Cinderella of the four that's left, but the other three are legitimate. I mean, definitely good enough to win the state title. So it'll be a good weekend next week.
What has been the big turnaround factor for Irmo this year? I know they've got the safety who's committed to South Carolina, big safety back there, but what about overall?
Well, I think, with the new coach, Coach Bland came in and just kind of changed the culture. It took them a while. They were competitive the last year. Well, I don't even count last year because of the COVID thing, but they were competitive. And they haven't been unbeatable this year. They haven't been, just world beaters. They've lost some games, but they've been really good in the playoffs, and their defense has been really good. Westside only scored 20 points tonight. Westside's a team that's been scoring a lot of points. So, they're going to bring a good defense, and they're going to need every bit of that defense to stay with Greenville.
Yeah, Greenville has got they've been scoring a ton of points the last couple of years. And what do you think of Pro Franklin? You heard what Chris said. Is he a guy that can play at the highest level, you think, as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think if he went to the right place, the right system, I don't see him getting a lot of Power 5 interest. I see a lot of the the G5 or whatever. I think he's definitely going to play college football. He's got to get bigger and stronger, but he is, as Chris said, just a playmaker. It's almost like he's playing in the backyard with a bunch of friends and just makes and creates plays. So I think he's got to get a little bigger and stronger, but he will. I think he's at least 6'3", 6'4". I think he's going to play college football. Where? I don't know. I haven't heard the Power 5s on him, but that may change.
Yeah, well, South Carolina showed some interest. I'm not sure if they're going to offer or want him as a preferred walk-on or what the case will be. By the way, I should mention our man Chris Deering is with the Prep Red Zone Network. Prep Red Zone Network. That is where he applies his trade. All right, final break, and we'll come back and continue through the scores. I don't expect any other reports tonight, unless Lou decides to call us. Scoop hasn't called us tonight. Don't know if he was at Dutch Fork or where he was. You know where Scoop was tonight?
He was at AC Flora.
Oh, don't call Lou. We don't need you. We don't need you. We had it professionally done by Chris. So we'll come back and continue through the scores. Maybe we'll dial up a single coach if we can find somebody awake. We'll be back after the break.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric. And I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
All right, final minutes tonight of the high school football scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I think we're going to get a recap on that Clemson basketball game from Smitty. So let's on through the nope.
Corn, you
Say
still
what?
with us? If you would repeat that, the last thing we heard was we may get a report here from Smitty. Then you cut out. So if you wouldn't mind repeating that for our listeners.
I'm sorry. I was talking about Smitty. We get Smitty on to give us a quick recap on that Clemson basketball game tonight. While you do that, let's continue with the 4A lower state bracket. David, Myrtle Beach 68-0 over Aiken. Beaufort 42-10 over North Augusta. West Florence 27-21 over South Aiken. And Hartsville, here come the Red Foxes, 31-12 over North Myrtle Beach. So Beaufort and Myrtle next week, and West Florence and Hartsville meeting up next week.
Yeah, I think Beaufort, if I'm not mistaken, I think they lost to Myrtle Beach during the regular season, and West Florence lost to Hartsville in the regular season. So we got a couple of rematches there in the lower state. I got looking at Myrtle Beach's first two playoff games, they've had probably the easiest two playoff games in the history of playoff games, to be honest with you. They opened with Midland Valley, who was a one-win team. They got Aiken this week and beat them 68-0. They'll be favored to beat Beaufort, and in fact, they're favored to win the lower state. I mean, they would have to play really poorly not to make it to Columbia.
Yeah, it sounds like not much is going to get in their way. Let me run through the rest of the scores, and we'll come back to them. In 3A, Chester 35, Chapman 28, Powdersville 21, Wren 17, Daniel 49, Woodruff 21, Clinton 48, Lower Richland 34. Lower State. Brooklyn Casey 28, Hanahan 27, Camden 13, Ainer nothing. Dillon 41, Crestwood 14, Oceanside 36, Gilbert 28. 2A. Abbeville 49, Saluda 34, Gray Collegiate 58, Crescent nothing. St. Joseph's 3, Christchurch nothing. Newberry 56, Chesterfield 20. Lower State, Silver Bluff 49, Central nothing. Sherrod 27, Timberland 26, Barnwell 22, Woodland 13, Philip Simmons 15, Wade Hampton of Hampton 14. 1A, Southside Christian 42, C.A. Johnson 14, Calhoun County 53, McBee 19, Ridge Spring Monetta 48, Great Falls 32, Lamar 14, McCormick nothing. Lower State, C.E. Murray 58, Branchville 36, Well Branch 27, Lakeview 12, Bamberg Earhart 41, Carvers Bay 14, and Baptist Hill 50, Green Sea Floyd's 33. Skeeza 3A, these are semifinal games. Hammond 56, Portugal 3, Trinity Collegiate 59, Augusta Christian 33. 2A, Williamsburg Academy 28, Buford Academy 7, Hilton Head Christian 52, PD Academy 23. 1A, Thomas Hayward 49, Thomas Sumter 9, Lee Academy 27, St. John's Christian 6, 8-man Andrew Jackson Academy 34, Clarendon Hall 30. Just got a call from Billy Baker. They just threw another flag in that game, David. And Holly Hill Academy 62, Patrick Henry 24. Matt Smith has been waiting since I think John McKissick was still walking the sideline at Somerville when Smitty called in to give us his report on the Clemson game tonight. Smitty, as we mesh a little basketball in with the football, 76-68 the final, but Wofford had this game right there within 1 or 2 points in the final minute, and then I was watching a turnover. They got a turnover, but he couldn't keep it, and it ended up in Dawes' hands, and he knocks down a big three that turned everything.
That's right. That was the big blow, Corn. That was the nail in Wofford's coffin tonight, and they didn't quit, but they didn't shoot it very well. But a lot of that had to do with Clemson's defense. If you're a Clemson basketball fan, tonight was what a Brad Brownell defense is supposed to look like. They limited Wofford to 5 of 23 from the three-point line. And David will like hearing this. P.J. Hall, who was a high school star in our state, anybody that cares about our state and Clemson basketball wants to see P.J. Hall do well. He lived up to his potential tonight. 22 points on just 8 shots, 6 of 8 shooting. He was doing it inside, doing it outside. He hit a three-pointer on the move. And one thing about PJ last year, you thought he might have been a little slim for the position. Well, now he's grown into that frame. He's bigger and stronger. He's obviously been in the weight room, been at the training table. He looked like a man-child out there tonight. The only thing he did wrong is what you were referencing, Phil, about Wofford coming back. Part of the reason they've got to come back is because Hall got into a scuffle with Wofford, picking up a technical foul, counted it as his third foul, so Brownell put him on the bench. Clemson went small. Wofford had 2 separate runs, one an 8-2 run and another a 16-2 run, much of that with Hall on the bench. Nick Honor kind of rescued them. He had only 2 points against PC, nothing in the first half, but 11 second-half points. So he got cranked up. So if you want to follow Clemson basketball, too, we're following them closely. I've got them in Charleston coming up at the end of this week, so we'll see if they can ride this momentum. I assume they're going to beat Bryant on Monday, so they're starting to stack up some wins here in the preseason, and P.J. Hall looked exactly the way P.J. Hall you would hope that he would look coming out of high school.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. Wofford was 1 for its last 15, so Clemson really clamped down on them. Smitty, thank you very much. For those who want to listen to the post game from Brownell, and Coach McCauley there from Wofford, it's up on the website, sportstalksc.com. Thank you, Smitty. Enjoy the football tomorrow up at Clemson.
I'll do it.
Travel safe. All right, Matt Smith. David, back to the scores here in our final minutes. One game I wanted to mention to you, Whale Branch beating Lakeview 27-12. Did you see that coming?
Well, I knew it was a possibility. Whale Branch is a good football team. I mean, when you get to this point, there aren't going to be many walkovers, and certainly I felt like Lakeview was going to win the game, but it's not a shocker that Whale Branch won the game. They're pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we bid adieu to Lakeview. We look at the 1A. Boy, when's the last time we saw a playoff game? Well, this would be in 2A, I guess. Last time we saw a playoff game, 3-0, St. Joseph's over Christ Church. And, obviously the defenses stood out for both of these teams tonight.
Yeah, that score surprised me. First of all, I thought Christ Church would win the game, and I definitely thought there'd be some points scored. I mean, neither team is an offensive juggernaut, but 3-0, you're right. In the playoff, that's very, very rare, especially in the era of football that we're in now where everybody, throws it around, can score points. Back in the 80s, maybe 3-0 was pretty normal, but not in 2021.
Yeah. Okay, David. Preliminaries are over. We get down to serious business next week. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Thank you, Pat Daniel. Thanks to everybody that called in tonight, and thanks to all of you tuning us in across the state here on the High School Scoreboard. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday night on Sports.
Weekdays from 7 to 9 on The Point. It's Kev and Brian in the morning. The news, the traffic 4 times an hour, and your daily forecast. Topics to wake you up, topics to make you smile and laugh. Hope you'll